my God, I'm so sorry. That happens so like,
I can hear you now. I can hear you. I don't know
sorry,
whether
yeah.
it moved
It
to
paused.
like
Basically, like, we lost all of that because I'm recording. I know. So,
you're good. You're good.
no,
I'm
because
trying to think of
basically,
like a better way because I'm near Wi-Fi.
no, don't worry, it's me because at least like once in the day, just at one random time in the day, the Wi-Fi just drops. It like drops and it. And
No, same with us. Same with us. Yeah.
it's happened to me in meetings. It's happened to me like on
No.
podcasts, and I'll just be in a meeting and it's just dropped, and then I just like I have to wait. So now at least I know, because like I don't know with some other apps or
Yeah.
things when you lose the Wi-Fi, it's done. Like it,
Oh yeah.
you have to like go back in. But
Restart.
with Zoom, it's pretty good. So sorry, you were saying about the whole weekend thing.
Yeah. I'm no week. Wow. No day of the week means more than the other to me now. It's kind of like, okay, if I have something that day, great. If I have a gig that day, great. I think it's because I live with my family. It's not like, oh, I visit them on a Sunday. Like it's just the same throughout,
Yeah,
which is nice. It's good because then you get to create your own rhythm and what's exciting, and you don't have to have a
yeah,
weekend to do that.
yeah. I can imagine it's really nice because like I'm still doing a 9 to 5 job
Oh yeah,
as the main thing at the moment. So
yeah.
you do feel obviously like in normal circumstances you feel the weekend, but even now,
Oh god, yeah.
yeah, like even now,
Yeah.
um, it like obviously I'm not working, but the weekend doesn't feel like the weekend because I'm just stuck in the same place anyway. So it's
Yeah.
yeah, it's
There's
weird.
no change. Hmm.
Yeah, but you're keeping well during this period. I feel.
Yes, now.
Yeah.
Now I am. The beginning was rough. The beginning was just a bit of a mindfuck, but like everything else, you find your equilibrium, you find your balance in whatever way that
Mm.
is, and you try and find the good in everything you have, which is you forget, I think, ironically in a pandemic like that, you start panicking and you think, well, grab everything and be safe, and oh my god,
Yeah.
and a lot of fear. But I
Mm.
think once you actually, because a lot of people are going, I mean, I can't even, the doctors and the nurses that are working is just phenomenal.
Yeah.
What they're
Shout
doing,
out to the NHS. Shout out to the
holy
NHS.
crap, thank you.
Yeah.
Like you realize, unless you're in that position, unless you see it, you forget that
Mm.
that's what they deal with every day right now, which is insane. So you go with it and on the daily, and hope you're doing well too. It's very
Yeah.
mental health.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you, I'm trying to just see the positive in it. One thing that's been really good is just being able to create more stuff because now
Yeah.
like everyone's in and it's like, okay, now the time's there. There's no distractions of, oh, I want to go to this bar, or want to go meet this person, or oh, there's this girl I'm trying to chat to. It's like,
You like zero. Although people are doing pretty well in the dating apps now, considering it's quarantine. The chat up lines have escalated. So I've seen
yeah,
on.
is that from first-hand experience, Lizzie?
No, God, I'm too lazy. No, when there's quarantine, that's my life. Being a hermit is what I've been born to do. So no, but from what I've seen on TikTok, some people have it. Like they're doing pretty well. Hats off.
Oh, good, good,
Yeah,
good luck to those people. Hopefully, they find the one.
at a 6 feet distance.
Oh my God. Anyway, let me introduce the podcast. Welcome to the Garden of Edun podcast, where ideas grow. So the aim of the podcast is to interview talented and amazing creatives who are, doing the hard work of putting themselves out there and showing the world their art and their talents. And one of them has kindly agreed to join me today, Lizzie, aka Elizabeth.
Mm.
Listen, this girl, yeah, her voice is beautiful, like so beautiful. It's amazing. And not only that, she's so fucking hardworking, like proper hardworking. That's one of the things that I really take from her. The balance of art and hard work is something that this girl puts in. So I'm happy to have you on today. Lizzie, is there any more you want to say about yourself?
Damn, no. that was awesome. Yeah, no, thank you for having me. I think it's my first podcast ever. So I'm, it's on my list in my life. It's great. It's great.
Yeah, I'm quite surprised by that, because you're quite you've got a really like nice bubbling energy and very good like person to speak to just as a
Thank
friend.
you.
So I'm surprised it's your first one and that you've been invited on. I am very surprised.
Yeah, no, I think I usually do like written interviews. I haven't really ever done face to face. I love it. I love communicating with people, and this
Wait,
is really fun. So thank
is
you.
is written interviews by like text or something? Is that like someone asks you a
No, like
question? you come back with a monologue like, well.
this is me. Here are some pictures, and that's yeah. No, it was no. I've promoting one of my singles last year. We did a promotion campaign, and I've never done blog interviews like that. It was just like an onslaught, and it was wonderful because I got to actually express what I wanted to do with the single, and that allowed a whole different door to open. But I've literally only done maybe like one visual interview, not even, yeah. But I love them, so it's nice that we get to with this one.
Yeah. I'm excited to have you on because, like I said, you're someone that I know is quite talented, and I feel like your journey specifically as well is something that could help somebody else who might listen to this and is thinking about entering music for themselves. Another thing I want to mention quickly is like some congrats for the most recent two singles that you released, Gold and I said this before to you, but Skin on Skin, which has come out at quite an interesting time where human contact is a little bit limited. What was your inspiration for the song at the time, actually? Because it wasn't now, so.
No, I planned this like 2 months before the whole thing erupted like this. It was more I wrote the song a year ago.
Okay.
Like the way I write is if I write on my own, the process is quite similar. I just have an idea or I have a melody in my head and I just press record and sit at the piano and then see what comes out and then go from there. And Skin on Skin came out of me when I was fed up, actually. I was in like this mood of just, I was very tired of the way I was connecting with people romantically. I didn't feel I was doing what I wanted and the way I wanted it. I was sort of going along with how society has deemed romance should be now. And there's nothing wrong with it. I just didn't connect to it. And that realization of me looking for myself in every single person, I realized like I was just trying to find a connection with myself rather than them, which is why I couldn't connect with anyone even if I wanted to, because I hadn't connected with myself yet. So I was just trying to look for a mirror. Didn't always end well. And I think I knew that, and it kind of made me realize I've never looked for myself the way I look for other people, or like my part, or like, the other heart, all that stuff. So when I realized that, the chorus came out, realizing that's really what I want, and then realizing the only skin I really want is mine right now.
That's a really deep meaning behind that.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing when you were going through this in your mind, like how, like when you're writing your music, is it like intentional in the sense that, okay, I'm going to the studio, I'm going to like a singer-songwriter class or like sesh, and everything that comes to mind is going to be my inspiration? Or do you find yourself entering moments in life and then think, oh, right, okay, I really want to sing about this because this has just happened and now I need to get it on wax, as they say?
Honestly, more often than not, the second one. which is
Yeah.
all. Yeah, I always thought, like, I actually found co-writing, like in different songwriting sessions with other people, harder at first because I didn't have a technique to write. I went to classes and I learned, the rules, because you can break them, but you learn the structures, and it's good because then you know how you want to break them. But I never really until I knew how I wanted to write and what I wanted to say, I found co-writing fucking difficult. I was happy to write for other people, but I couldn't write for myself with other people for a while because I never connect to it the way I would connect to it if I just press record and just did my shit. The depth was different. Which is why when ideas pop in my head or I think I heard a line in a film the other day and I was like, damn, that would be a great lyric. Oh my God. I think it was Winter's Tale, and it was like, something about, it's on my phone. It's too good. Anyone who wants to write a song to this, who watches this, you just so worth it.
I mean, you've built it up. I want to hear this now.
Yeah. The Winter's Tale, very good film, by the way. Yeah, Colin Farrell. He goes, I'm pulled to you like air under the water. And it's like, you just get that immediate visual. You're like, you need to go. It's incredible. Then like hearing lyrics like that, hearing words like that, how much that pull, how much he needed to, like he was just pulled to her, like he needed to breathe. It's like, that's fucking gold.
His genetic
because that's just packed with all kinds of
yeah.
Yeah.
Like his genetic code is just like screaming to.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. You can't, like, that's just so much you can take from that. And that's a very technical way to think about it. But even if it's from my own experience, I find the most potent things come out of fucking nowhere. I've never been able to plan a song personally. From my experience, the songs that I truly connect to, they just fly through. I can't. I plan the time. Like when it feels right to go to the piano, great. And then I think with my mind, and then I edit, and then I see how I can make it better. But the forefront of whenever I actually create something, when it's born, it just flies through. Yeah.
So it's like a flow of inspiration rather than an active like goal setting. Okay, I'm going to do this, that, and the other.
Never could do that personally. It works for some people. I just could never, ever do that.
That sounds quite familiar, actually. Like I feel, well, I've put a couple freestyles on the gram. Because so I did a podcast with one of my friends who's a rapper, and in that podcast I said to him I couldn't write bars, I couldn't spit bars and stuff like that. And I remember one day I felt this urge, like, you know what, I'm just gonna try this thing because I have something to say. I have something that I wanted to get off my chest. So I feel you. Obviously, I'm not a musician by any stretch of the imagination. But yeah, I feel how that can happen. And to be honest, I didn't know that it could be sustained as well, like in your case, because I'm guessing that's just how you've rolled the whole time.
There are periods of time when there's just so much shit that needs to come out. And then there are periods when nothing does. And it took time. So I've been doing this for like 5 years now. And it took at least 2 of those years to figure out what I wanted to say. It took another year to figure out why I'm even doing this. Another year to realize, once I realized what I wanted to say and why I wanted to do this, you get these layers and you're trying to figure out, okay, it's art. But then with art, naturally, you're going to have other people see it, hear it, view it, judge it, understand it. And as a lot of creatives and artists, when you're giving something out there like that, it's so vulnerable. It's you on like just open, like completely raw. And when you feel the judgment of other people, it's so easy to close it up again. And it's like when I think it took a lot of time to just allow whatever wanted to come out. So I stood by it rather than creating to just create or creating to release for other people. The moment I realized I was doing it for other people, only, oh my God, it was horrendous. That there was no, I didn't want to do it anymore. You know,
Yeah.
something I used to love and need to do and breathe, like it gives me that huge lift in my spirit, died. I was like, oh no. So that's not good.
That's
Um,
big.
yeah. And that's why I realized how
Mm,
strongly judgment can kill creativity.
mm,
So if you just do it for yourself, I realizing that I was just doing it for myself. Like people can like it, people can hate it, whatever they want to do. It's on them in terms of it's their reaction, it's their judgment. You know, send love and move forward, and just figure out how you feel about it before you ever give it out. So that stays. So no
100%.
one else can tamper with that shit. It's just
Yeah,
yours.
I
Yeah.
100% agree with that because you need to be a fan of your own shit, man. You really
Oh
need to be a
God.
fan of your
Yeah.
own
Saying
shit.
that about your book, the fact that you're like, it's good. You know, you need that excitement. Otherwise, what's the point?
Yeah, and I just feel like when you're a fan of your own stuff, it
Yeah.
means that you actually enjoy creating it. So
Exactly.
and like with anything that you're trying to, so obviously you're trying to, build your career as a musician.
Yeah.
I guess I am as a creative, I guess
Yeah.
author now, who knows what in the future.
Yeah.
But it requires, a lot of patience, commitment, hard work.
Yeah.
So if you don't like the shit that you're putting out, or
God.
if you're not doing it for your own
Yeah.
enjoyment as well as others, of course you hope other people enjoy it, but if it's not
Yes.
for your own too, then it can really just get at you, man. Like it I feel like it's very easy to fall into a dark place when that's not the case and you're just rolling with, making
Yeah.
stuff just for others.
Yeah, of course, like I would love it. My whole one of my goals with what I'm creating, which feels right to me, I realize it's not just because, oh, you should do things for other people, because yeah, it's great, you connect, it's great.
Mm,
But what feels right to me is that I'd love to share music that people actually connect to and feel comforted by, and like
mm,
realize things they wouldn't have realized before listening to that song. Or because that's what music's done for me. I still listen to songs. I'm like, how the fuck did like she know he like what that was like in my head like but then it changed it for me. It's like I listen to that song,
mm.
it comes on, and you remember like, oh, I'm not gonna forget I'm a badass bitch. Yeah, it's a very different like seriously, Megan Trainor, Lizzo, like my morning jams every, because it's insane how even the sad songs, which I swear to God,
Mhm.
I have more playlists of sad songs that do more good to me, because it's like a cathartic release. Like I like
Mm,
majority, like you know how you said like it was a deep skin on skin, like the whole concept was like,
yeah.
that's honestly like where I naturally live. But I think
Okay.
for such a long time it was the judgment of, oh my God, don't be so like sensitive, or don't, why
Mm,
go that deep when you can, like the depth is where it's at. Like we're, everyone, that's why everyone is now mental health aware, because before we were just brushing it off.
yeah.
And like the depth is the whole point.
Yeah. People's vulnerability is we connect like
Yeah.
based on our vulnerabilities. I think we relate a lot easier to people, and definitely music where like even for me, a lot of the rappers that I like, because I know like rap gets sometimes gets an unfair stigma, and in some
Yeah.
cases the music is, and I love it sometimes when the music is just braggadocious and just like
Yeah.
cruddy and wild. You know what? I love that. I love that
Yeah.
energy sometimes. But the artists that I really fuck with are
Yeah.
the ones who are able to be quite vulnerable about themselves. So like Kendrick Lamar, J. Cole, they talk a lot about, they're feeling like lost and feeling sad, and
Yeah. It's the
crying
honesty.
tears, and
Yeah.
in environments which it's not very easy to release those emotions as a man.
I was just
They're
gonna say
still,
being man is and vulnerable is a whole different ball game. Yep.
yeah, and yet in their music they're able to um
Yep.
give that context, and I love them for that, and a lot of people around the world connect with their music because of it. So yeah, I think just
Without a doubt.
vulnerability um in the creative work you have is
Yeah.
is is probably it resonates more with the person who makes it, and then other people can really relate to it a lot more than just something a bit less deep, a bit more surface level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like, you need a balance, but I think
Yeah.
I agree. I think when you're creating something, I could only create surface level stuff temporarily. I could never, I would be like, what's the word? I think I'd be blocked if I didn't allow all that other shit to come through.
Mm.
And I've been there, I couldn't, because I think you're told to be a certain way, or to fit in a certain category or box or look or feeling, even as a guy. Like, I'm sure you've been told you shouldn't feel a certain way, or, you know, like, don't feel too much because you're a dude or whatever. It's a bunch of shit. I'm sorry. I know that's not what we're talking about, but just that whole thing.
No, it's it's true. Like, we've all had experiences where, because, you know, we're men, or because we're women, or because we're like black or white, or whatever, wherever we're from, we're like, okay, you're not allowed to do these certain things. And I think and it comes through with the art that we make, actually. I think
No, I agree.
we're all looking to feel more free, and so those things don't help us be free. Like, those constraints don't help us be free.
They guilt you and make you feel ashamed and feel like you should, you know, not who you are is enough. It's fucking God. Sorry,
and the rabbit hole just opens up.
That shit. Yeah. A whole bunch of crap. Like, just, it's worth excavating, but it's I think the one thing I recognize as well is, whenever I did a gig, there was one particular gig, and I've forgotten what year and day. I'm telling you, time doesn't exist to me anymore. But one of the things I did.
I mean, time is a construct, apparently. So, you
know. I agree. It is one illusory construct, but, you know, it helps. You know, certain things. Anyway, just so many thoughts in my head now. So,
well,
serious.
One thought that I'd like to pull out from your head, Lizzie, is if we go all the way back, because I want to find out where the inspiration to become a musician started. You know what? Funnily enough, you're gonna hear it when it comes out. Yes, I think so. Yeah. I think it will be out. I don't know if we recorded that part. Basically, I had an interview, a podcast with, you remember Neji, right? Yeah, of course, yeah. So he was telling me the story, because I think I told him that, you know, things were on the up with for you, like, especially with the last two singles that you released.
Yeah, I think I know what you're gonna say.
And you told me this really interesting story.
Oh God!
About first year at uni.
Yeah,
I would share it, but I kind of want to hear that from you. So I'll set the scene. He says that you were talking about what your ambitions were, and, you know, you said you wanted to be a musician, you wanted to sing, and I think you can take it away from here, Lizzie.
Honestly, just in case I've got this wrong, you continue a little bit more.
So
you go.
He says, "Okay, cool, sing, man."
Fuck me, I don't know why. I've never, not once, okay, not what. I hate when I actually hated it when people were like a comedian. Oh, tell us a joke then. And I was like, I wanted to kill him actually at first, and I was like, you know what? You know fucking what? I was like, I will.
Yeah.
I remember singing at that party. Holy crap! I don't even know where we were. I don't remember.
Probably in halls.
We were about to leave or something.
Yeah.
And I sang. I think I sang Whitney Houston.
Maybe I was there, because that sounds
familiar.
You
were there.
When by the way, when Neji told me the story, I didn't remember. Like, I didn't remember.
You
But
Really?
now that you said Whitney Houston, I'm thinking,
Yeah.
oh, maybe I was there.
You were
That sounds
definitely
familiar.
that.
Um, what's
I
what
don't even remember that.
what's funny about that though
Uh,
is well, one, he said you were sick, so congrats. And the other thing he said is you mentioned that that was the first time you sang in front of people, which is crazy
like that,
to
yeah.
think like in that moment you did it and it's there. So obviously you knew before that moment that you wanted to be a musician. So like what was happening up until that
Well,
point? Because you hadn't sang in front of anyone. So what
it's
was
funny.
like going
I
on?
hadn't. Oh wait, was it Whitney? Because it's funny then I'm wrong because my memory. I think I sang. Oh, God knows. Point is that it's not the first time I sang in front of people because I did concerts and stuff when I was younger, like classical shit. I think it was the first time I sang one of my own songs that night because that was that. I remember that. I remember being like, God, what the fuck did I just do? I was like, you know what? It's fine. I did it. It was great. But I completely forgot. Yeah, I think it was the first time. Like, I never did open mics at uni, and there were always so many open mics, and I was like, no, God, never. Holy crap, never, ever, ever. And I never knew I
Yeah.
wanted. At that point, I actually didn't know I wanted to do this career. I wanted.
Right.
I did, but I actually wanted to do film composition first. I wanted to write music for films. That was my first, like, I wanted to be behind the scenes. I wanted to do that. Yeah. But then I did that musical third year and I was like, oh my God, I want to be on stage. I feel like this is my home as well. And it kind of clicked into writing and singing the songs that I write. But that's so funny. That's so true. Singing in front of people like that, which is very different to classical and choral and that shit, which I was so used to, which I've been doing since I was 7. That was like a whole different walk. I was singing something I wrote. I was singing a whole different melody of emotion that was very close to me. And I was very insecure at that time in a lot of different ways. I
As
mean,
we all were, by the way, as we
exactly.
all fucking were.
Like, it's amazing how, like, that was what? We met 9
18.
years ago.
Yeah, yeah. It's been a long time, you know. It's been a long
Whoa!
time. It's been a long time.
Holy shit, we'll celebrate the 10th.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's, you know, you're young and you just, the idea of singing something I wrote at that time, never. Oh my God. I remember being 16, writing a song at school,
Yeah.
singing it, thinking, I'm never fucking doing this ever again.
Did you sing it for people at
No,
school?
no,
Oh,
no,
okay.
no, no.
You just sang
Literally
it to
in a
yourself.
practice room, I wrote something for the first time that was completely out of my head, just on the piano. And I finished it and I was like, so that's not what I'm gonna do. So adamant. I was like, well, songwriting's out of the picture, guys. I was 16, yeah.
How did you even know it was good though? Or how did you know it?
Sometimes you just know it's shit, you know? And I just didn't have, to be fair, it wasn't from a genuine place. It was just writing a song. And I knew
Yeah.
that, and I was trying to get it to be good without actually feeling anything. So I was like, well, that is just a pile of poop. And then you needed to, like, you know, go away from it. 5 years later, you realize, you know, different roots, different truths. And then, yeah, it kind of clicked again and it felt right to do. So that journey, because it was a journey.
Yeah, because you pretty much,
Yeah.
like from what I remember, very soon after uni, you just went straight on
Yep.
the assault, right?
Yeah,
So
4 months later, actually. Damn,
yeah.
yeah. I went to that songwriting, it's called the Songwriting Academy, and they did courses and stuff, and I loved it. It really, I learned more about how to express myself more succinctly and, you know, learn from these people who are in the industry. And it was a great, beautiful beginning, and like co-writing and to open myself up. And it was such a good place to realize what I wanted to say, what, you know, and there are a lot of rules, and I do stand by, like, if it doesn't feel right to you to do something, Even if every single human being in that industry, successful or whatever, has said to do it, do not do it.
Do not do
You
that
have to,
thing.
like, if I was going to say anything to any creative ever, the one big thing that I've learned, you have to follow what feels right to you, even if there's no logic, even if everyone else has done it brilliantly this way, and you just can't get that feeling. You just know it's not the right one for you, or this is the right route for you, even though everyone's saying don't do it. You have to follow yourself. No one else is doing the journey except you, and you need to feel good about the decisions you make. And if it's peaceful, follow it. It will lead you to like the biggest, most beautiful things you can even imagine.
Yeah, because you're doing like a disservice to yourself when you don't follow your instinct. I'm sure like even in everyday life, everyone's had that moment where your intuition has said, yo, you need to do this thing. Like you need to go this way because I'm telling you, you need to do this.
Feel it. You feel that little thing. Yeah, same, yeah.
And then when you go against it and inevitably things fuck up, it hurts just so much more because you remember the moment where
you felt that and you're like, oh, but you do learn. So I get there's no right or wrong because there isn't. But it feels so good when you follow your intuition and you're like, damn, I wasn't, because sometimes you think I've found moments where I'm like tiptoeing just you know, like you just see if it's right because your intuition saying that, even though everyone's like, don't do that, why would you, you know, and you start following. And the more I followed it, the easier it was. It's not going to be like, okay, I'm going to follow my intuition, it's going to be easy. You have your own compass, and it takes time to like step in the wrong direction, or like you know, test the waters, and then suddenly you're going to be like, okay, you know what, I'm going, let's go, because everything else seems shit anyway. You're going to follow when you have nothing to lose. It's like you'll follow, you know, what feels good to you.
So how did you, because like it's interesting, you've mentioned rules a couple of times, and I imagine there are rules, but I couldn't guess what the rules in songwriting are. But what things were you doing to experiment so that you could find your own self within that whole within that whole thing,
industry and songwriting and stuff? So I mean, a big example for me was, and this is my personal experience, this is not definitely something I suggest to other people unless it felt right. We were often encouraged, which I think is good, to go out to networking events and gig every gig every week, write every day. Although Ed Sheeran did, so I'm definitely not calling that out. You do what feels good to you, but yeah, gig every week or write every day or do something. Because the one line which I'll never agree with is if you're not doing it, someone else is. That is one of the most awful things to say, because even though it might be true, that means nothing. You're not here to compare your path to other people. So for example, if I didn't want to go to a networking event because it really didn't feel right to me, the idea of, oh my god, maybe I won't meet the manager, or I won't meet the record label, or I won't meet the people I'm meant to meet, or no, if it doesn't feel right to you, trust that. And let's say that person that was great went to the networking event. If you're meant to do something or meet someone or be someone or feel, you know, have that experience, what is yours is going to always be yours. That's like one thing I live by. Any experience or opportunity that is already yours cannot be taken away from you. It'll always come in front of you. It's then your free will choice to be like, do I want it? Do I not? But it'll always be there if it's meant for you. So there's no missing out. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you have to be like, no, that's a different issue.
Yeah.
But that in between is, I think, is, you know, I didn't go to a number of networking events and I felt so guilty. Or like if I didn't write every day, or like it was, and then when I didn't write and I stopped feeling guilty, a week later, within less than a day, one of my favorite songs I've ever written came out.
Which song was that?
It's not out yet.
Oh, whoops. I mean, you can start plugging it. You can start.
I know. It's actually another project that I'm doing with someone else, and we've been working on it for like a year and a half, and I cannot wait to actually like announce it properly. But it's one of my favorite songs I've ever written, and it almost feels like it's not even mine. It's weird. It's like I wrote it, but it feels like it's like a bigger. It just came through. I didn't have, and I found like that came out in less than a day when I didn't think about it.
Mm. It goes back to what you were saying earlier about the
Allowing it.
inspiration and the energy to
Yeah,
produce that just like flowed through
that
you.
worked for
And
me. Yeah,
mm,
yeah.
how did you get the perspective of not succumbing to all the things that you are supposed to do? Because I mean, it sometimes it does help for people to suggest, okay, if you want to reach a certain position, you need to do these things. It can build like a framework
Mm-hmm.
for what you need to do.
Yeah.
But I'm in agreement and a big believer in not doing those things that if they don't make you happy, then obviously you shouldn't be doing those things, even if it is a framework that someone's prescribed. If
Mm.
you're not happy doing them and consistently not happy, obviously it's not a framework for you. So how
Yeah.
did you come to that place? Because for a lot of people,
Mm.
um, they feel like they have to do those things, and it's it's
Yeah.
it's something that if they don't follow, they can't get that balance right of being happy and also doing the necessary things to take their career to a certain level. So how did you discover that?
Um, it's a lot of strings because for me, from my experience, my spirituality,
Mm-hmm.
the way I see my life and the world and what success means to me and what I actually want to do with my life was intrinsically connected with that. Because the moment I realized I'm not seeing it as a climb, it shifted an entire gear. I'm not seeing it as a career that I'm trying to, like a ladder I'm trying to climb, someone else's ladder. Success to me is more like if a song that I've written or something, whatever I've created, because it doesn't have to be music, whatever I've created is connected and helped someone or comforted
Mm.
someone or made them laugh or whatever it is, or just reminded themselves how fucking awesome they are. Anything I've done is therefore worth it. Spiritually speaking, I
Mm-hmm.
realized for me, I think everyone has a path. I believe everyone's soul for going into
Go into it. Go in.
spirituality.
Go into it. This is your honest expression, man. This is what the platform's about. Go
This
in, Lizzie. Come on.
platform.
Come on.
Um, yeah, so I believe that every soul, and I'm still learning and evolving. This is just what I feel now and believe
Mm-hmm.
now. I really need to say that because it does evolve.
Yeah.
If
Believe.
I believe that everyone's soul has a path and there's no right or wrong with your decisions, there's, either way, you're always going to be led back to that,
Mm.
which means that everything that is already yours is going to be yours whatever time. Even if you do take a detour, it's still yours. It's just going to come back
Mm.
again another time in another way.
Mm-hmm.
So in regards to the structures of other people, a lot of them, I tested out because I was told to, and I was like,
Yeah.
I might as well, why not? And it did not work for me. It did something and it was good, but I realized, okay, it didn't feel right. Now I know. Now I can trust that, okay, even if I cannot see anything ahead of me, which is majority of the time, by the way. I mean, I'm lucky enough to live at home with my family. I don't have to think about rent right now.
Mm.
But so there is that. But I could easily go and get easily, I say easy, get a job,
Yeah.
move out, pay rent if I wanted to. Like that's an option. That's
Right.
a choice.
Yeah.
It's not, I'm choosing to live with my family right now because it feels right to me. But there's like that is a choice. So it's the different things that are placed around it. Like living at home allows me to right now create music and focus on my self-care and focus on my self-growth and be able to push that out and encourage it in the way that feels right to me. Because no, I cannot see what this career or vocation, whatever is going to bring me. Like I have dreams and I have things that I would
Mm.
love to do, but it's not the purpose anymore. The purpose is very much staying in the present which I have to say is one of the biggest lessons. I'm still learning.
Mm-hmm.
Being in the present moment has allowed me to trust myself more. Like if in the moment, okay, what do I want to do right now? I go to it. I see if that feels right. If it doesn't, then I practice that, and that will help me for the next day. And then I don't think about the future, because the moment that I think about the future, I'm no longer here, which means I can't create the future, which means, and if I think about the past with everyone else saying to me, well, can you do that? Are you sure you can do that? Can you sustain that? Are you going to create what you want to create? It's all this, and actually none of it exists.
Dangerous. It's
Except
dangerous. It's dangerous.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it doesn't exist to you, and then suddenly you're like, okay, well, I'm happy right now, so I don't really care about the future right now.
It takes a lot of the pressure off, when you do think that way, or because obviously, you fall back into thinking about the past and especially the future when you're, I mean, as a creative, in some way you are thinking about the future, because it's like, okay, I'm starting something.
Yes,
and it's going in my head, okay, if I do this for X amount of time, it's going to become this thing. But I feel like when you do neglect the thoughts of the future specifically, it just takes the pressure off. So you're just kind of in flow with what you're doing.
That flow just saves a lot of anxiety.
That flow is
I vow by it. Like
it's amazing.
Like, we never predicted this quarantine moment, this time. We never predicted it. Like, I had my year planned. This is the joke. I had my year plan, and I was like, and the universe goes, no.
Everyone had that.
See my guardian angels being like, oh.
That vision, that vision 2020 vision, like the plan 2020 is gonna be my year. 2020.
Had all sorts of shit.
It's just
go to New York.
The whole thing's just falling apart.
Yeah.
So you were gonna go to New York to.
So that project I was telling you about. So
yeah.
When I can actually talk about it, I will definitely.
Oh right, okay.
Yeah.
I hear you.
But I go out there now to do that project and be with family and stuff. And I was meant to go out yesterday.
Oh wow.
Oh wow! I was meant to go there yesterday for the rest of like 2.5 months, and now it's completely changed, and it's good because everything happens for a reason. But it was a blindside. Like I thought, that's great, and it's funny. I had everything up to July planned. I was like, every time I looked at the second half of the year, I was like, it was blank, and I was like, that's fine. I'm just gonna go with the flow. And then I kept getting, like, when I meditate in the morning, I kept getting the message. I was like, why can't I know the second half of the year? Like anything, like give me an inkling. And I kept getting, you're not ready for it. You're not ready to know yet. You're not ready for it. And I was like, looking back now, I'm like, no, I fucking wasn't. I was like, you were right. Days. Yeah, no, I would never have believed it. No.
Yeah, it's a very special situation. I mean, it does sound like, from what we've spoken about off the record, and now that you've taken quite positive steps during this time, which is really good. But it's just it goes back to what you were saying about being like present with what you're doing, because these things happen, but as long as you bring that energy to the work you're doing, then it will still feel good and right, and you have that flow. I definitely know what you're talking about. It's a great feeling, man. It's a great feeling.
It's practice, but when you get it, and it's like, pure bliss, and then you wonder why. I think it's that resisting that urge to look forward to I mean, when I say look forward, I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with like dreaming or looking forward, but the moment it starts to give you anxiety, or you want to try and control it, that's when I'm like, oh god, no, okay, back in it. That's like for me anyway, the balance that I'm trying to find.
It's a hard one. It's a hard one to find. I can imagine as well, with different like aspects of being a musician, that that does play on your mind. And one thing that I'm thinking of in particular is when you're going to do a performance or a gig or something live, because
Yeah.
I can fully imagine trying to stay in that place is like really difficult. So I know you've done quite a lot of gigs now. I would say like
Now, yeah.
a healthy amount. What's that journey been like? Because actually, I'll give you a hint of my experience. So my small experience with sharing some musical art to the world. So
Yeah.
with the freestyles that I've done,
Yeah.
the major two freestyles, two. One may be coming out soon. One may be coming out
Yeah.
soon.
Good.
One of the things I found was that so I'd get the lyrics in my head, and then I'd like write them down, and I'd make them nice, and you know, get them together. But one of the things that I found like a whole different skill set was to actually like record myself performing it. Like it's different. It's different. It's different. It's different. So that really struck me, because I thought once you get everything down, you know, you remember the lyrics, it's pretty easy. But I found it difficult to record myself actually, you know, spitting those bars.
Yeah.
So I can only imagine that doing it live. Like the first thing I thought was, raw. So people who perform live, like that is nuts. That's like even more just crazy. So talk on that a bit. What was the journey within that for you, like building that skill set and everything that comes with it?
I think the first thing, can you hear me?
Oh yeah, you're back.
Yeah. Okay, good. I think one of the first things I remember was so I perform on my piano, and I've been doing that since the beginning, and I just, you know, accompany myself. So my mind is on that and singing. And to me, singing is, you know, I love doing it. Yeah, I love doing it, and it's more effortless to me than piano. And I'm not a pianist. Like I'm not, you know, putting myself down or anything, but I'm not. Like I've seen piano players. Their skill is a very, very different skill, and I use it to just accompany my voice. Like I'm happy to do a cappella. It's not a big thing, but if I feel like it adds to it, I'm going to use it. And that growth from being so shit scared of how people are going to react, that's like one of the most, like I'm sweating now, it's like one of the most debilitating fears that I remember having. Honestly, if I'm going, this is an honest platform.
Yeah.
The reaction that my body had before every single gig, I think there was one that you went to, it was the exact same process. I think I told you. My hands go ice cold, which means it's harder to play. And I click my hand, like, I'm like, oh my God. I have nervous poops just before the gig.
Yeah, that makes
so
a lot of sense.
How am I balancing? Like, I was just like, oh my God, and I have to sit. And I was like, it was one of those things where you're not even thinking about the actual gig. You just go what I said. You don't even have to think about the actual gig. Okay. Because all I'm thinking about is the bit before. And it's just like, because the moment I'm on stage and the moment I start, it goes. But the pre, oh my God, it was like for 3 years, I was like, oh my God, I can't poop this much. This is ridiculous. By the way, I'm sorry. I know this is a lot of, so if you're a man, any other musician, people, creative who gets nervous poops, it happens and it's okay. Yeah. So it was just one of those things where I'm not going to go any more into it, but you know, it hurts sometimes, that the amount. So it's just like, you've been about to like perform, and the moment I'm on stage, it goes, and then you connect to the audience, and it's like, whoa. I then started to realize, oh, okay, this is something I love. Like the feeling after it, you can't compare it to anything else. And it was more when you talk to people after, it's like they actually like, you saw me and I saw you, and I was like, well, you can't buy that. You can't get that anyway. It was just one of the most beautiful, and I was like, I need to do this for the rest of my life. And I prayed ever since. It was so fucking And I want to do this for a career. Obviously, at that time, 3 years ago, I was like, this is what I want to do now for the rest of my life. And I slowly did gig after gig, but I didn't do many of them. I only did the ones that felt right to me, which is one of the things that when everyone was like, gig every week, do more open mics. I found that any open mic that I did that didn't feel right, when I went against my gut, I would feel so shit after. And I'm talking about, like, it didn't encourage anything, because if it was a bar where people didn't listen to you.
Yeah.
And I realized, though, it was a good experience, because I realized that my music thrives better in places where people want to come and listen. So then I cut out all the bars. I cut out, because I wasn't even getting paid for the performances.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm not going to do it. There wasn't any incentive to do the bars if I'm going to be miserable. And to be honest, musicians do not get paid enough for the work that they do. Any creative, I'm sorry, not just even musicians. The amount that they put in to what they do and then get paid, it's really, anyway, it's a whole different conversation.
I mean, we could touch on that quickly. Like, what's the landscape like? If you don't want to talk on a personal level,
no, I
like,
mean,
what's the landscape like in general? What's been the experience?
I think I've done a few live performances where I've been paid. That's it. If you do the wedding scene, I think it's different. Like, you can get paid wonderfully, and it's a great, it's but, and I think the landscape is changing. Like Spotify is, royalties. Spotify used to be horrendous with the percentage of royalties. Now I think they've had, I need to actually update on that myself, that they've evolved and they've changed, and that that it's now about helping the musician. I mean, even in quarantine, all these different music streaming sites, all the different music places, they're now looking to help musicians, which would never have happened. But because we're in quarantine, it's like, you know what, humanity's like, you know what, we're gonna help each other. And it's just wonderful to see. I'm sorry, I'm so dramatic about it, but it's so beautiful to see, like, oh, we're not fucked. We can help each other. Like, it's cool. There is love there still. Like, it's still, I'm being very dramatic about it, but it's the amount that I think you can agree with creativity that you put in to a piece of work, and then it's seen as a product that's, I get it. I get the whole climate of, the economic climate where what's the word? Supply and demand. Where if someone wants it, if more people want it, then you can give more and all that shit. But it's still, we live for art. The whole point we're here, I believe, is for expression. We're not here to do the 9 to 5, because before it didn't exist. Before the whole, didn't exist. So I think it's the balance is imbalance. Like, art has been seen as something that's not as important as I think it should be taken, because people live for art. People may live doing other shit, but the reason, I think it was a Charlie Chaplin quote that I'm totally misquoting, was it's about that. It's about the fact that we're here to experience beauty and the human heart, and creating from a place that you can't necessarily explain. And that's why a piece of art can move you to tears, even though you don't have a fucking clue what it is. It could be a square on a piece of paper, but for some reason that made you move you to tears for your own inner reasons. Like, it gives you that eye open into who you are, which I guess is the whole point, of life. I don't know. That's what I don't know.
Yeah, I think I really agree with you. Like, it's a very like deep and meta point. But if you, I think if you speak to a lot of people who've had moments where their lives have been changed, or their lives have been changed, direction or perspective, if not through experience alone, sometimes it's through the art that they take in and experience. Like, I'm sure there's so many people, for example, that say they watched like a YouTube video, just someone talking YouTube video, where they followed it. It sparked something within them. They followed the rabbit hole of whatever that topic was, and now their lives have taken a completely different trajectory.
I love that. Yeah,
And
because
it
what led them to that YouTube video?
yeah, and it happens with music. Like, even I think even music is so much like deeper as well, because of there's so much going on in it. And you know what, I only realized this when I'd got high and listened
Yeah,
to music.
yeah.
When I got high and listened to music, I was like, this is
Changes. Mm-hmm.
it's just a whole different experience.
Yeah,
And it's so crazy because one of the things is it's like a portal to like stuff you experienced in the past, or it's a portal to really like take in what the musicians experience,
yeah.
everything down to like the notes that they've used and the type of instruments. And it's crazy.
How
It's
it affects
actually
you and your own memories. Yeah.
it's so deep.
Mm-hmm.
um and so yeah, I think if we look at life as a, like, if people believe that, you know, being on the planet, our
Yeah.
aim is to like grow as individuals and learn more about each other and learn our experiences, etc., etc.
Yeah.
I mean, art is really the gateway to that. Like,
Right. Exactly. I don't
it's
think
a big one.
it's a yeah, one of the main ones, I think.
And also a way to reflect that. So for somebody who's gone through an experience or a change, the way that they reflect on that and the way that they share that is through
Yeah.
art more than
And you
other
can realize you're
mediums.
not alone just by someone else expressing their truth, that they're being vulnerable for
Mm.
themselves, when actually they're like, oh, because I've experienced that, where I thought I was the only one to experience an emotion when I was younger. I was like, I'm the only one. No one else understands me. And then I think I listened to one of Maria Mena, or one of her songs, and I was 16, and I was like, you know, when everything is so dramatic at 16, and you know what? Yes, it should be dramatic because you're new, you're facing new shit, you could do what you want, do what you want. Oh,
Hormones
hormones and the whole
going
thing. You're
mad.
trying to be the best you can, but you don't know what that is. Yeah, I think that's, listening to that song is in the car, I'll never forget. I just get this, every time I think about it, I get this image of driving past a roundabout, and I just, that click, I just realized, I was like, holy shit, this isn't new. This isn't something I need to cry about or worry about. I'm gonna cry anyway. But there's no reason to like judge this, because I'm not the only one. She literally wrote a song. Like, she depicted everything. It really healed me that day on a very different level. So yeah, it's crazy shit.
That was the gateway.
Oh, one of my first, one of the many, many, many gateways. So many loops and doors in the mind, man. And it's beautiful, like when you're detached from it and you're just observing it. But I think it's a lot when you're trying to express it, because you're expressing parts of you that you didn't even know existed.
Yeah, sometimes I imagine sometimes for you when you get that inspiration to lay down some vocals, jeez, some things just come out which you're like, oh, right, okay.
Yeah.
Like, that line comes out and it resonates, but you're like, oh, okay, I still
I
feel
didn't
a
know
way
that.
about that thing, or oh, I didn't know I felt this way.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah,
yeah, big time.
it's
Yeah.
brilliant.
Skin on Skin was actually that for me,
Mm,
because I didn't realize how deeply that went. I think it was like, because I was like, I was first playing on the piano, and I was like, oh, this is going to be quite a slow song. And I had such an issue. I had an insecurity about all my songs being too deep and too slow for a very long time. Because it was like no beats and no, and I love, to me, tribal rhythms, tribal drums, tribal like cross rhythm. Oh my God, it's like the best thing I could even, and I put them all in my production now. I'm just like, just give me lots of
yeah.
percussion, because to me that's like the heartbeat of a song. It doesn't need to be there, but it's like something that draws.
Oh, it's me again. Fuck. Fuck.
Need multiple songs and
I'm
a
so
balance.
sorry, Lizzie.
Yeah.
I dropped off there for a little bit.
All right.
Could you go again from where you were talking
Yeah.
about the drums and they drive? You were saying they drive the song, right?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Can you see
yeah.
me and hear me now?
Yes, I can. I can.
Yeah, no. Um,
Second time.
the
I'm
the
sorry.
tribal drum. Don't be honestly. The Wi-Fi is horrendous here too. The tribal drums. I love that the way they used to be used, and I love that energy that comes with it. It just hits me in a different way. So I now put them everywhere in my production because I'm just like, it's just where it hits. Like Skin on Skin was a ballad originally, but I was once told in regards to what we were talking about before, how like doing what someone tells you, or like and I got told by one person in the industry, which is how much it's amazing what one person can say to affect you, and it's been in my back of my mind ever since, until I cleared it like a half a year ago. But they said, all your songs are great, but they're all ballads. You need up tempo, you need upbeat. People aren't going to listen, they're going to get bored, they're going to all this stuff. And that might be totally true, but it made me from then on second guess every single thing I did. And I didn't even notice it was that until it rose to the surface again when I was trying to like clear and like figure out like what is this insecurity. And I just got that image, that memory of like when he told me after a set I did, where everyone was like, and they're all the same, they're all deep ballads or deep songs with rhythm, but it wasn't like upbeat and tempo. And everyone was, clapping, and it was it was actually my first gig, I think. And the guy said that. So I was like, so wait, so you're saying even if I get people who have been fine for the past 20 minutes and not bored, and then someone in the industry saying, but I listened to that. And it was such a huge like wake up call, like, oh my God. And it's not their fault. That's what they've been taught. That's what they're passing on. Like there's no animosity there, but that's why I think being vigilant on what you accept as a belief from anyone else's perspective is so important, because without you realizing, it might feed an insecurity you already have. I mean, I've forgotten what the point of this. Oh yeah, Skin on Skin.
Yeah, the
so that's why
yeah.
That was such a huge thing, because when I realized I still felt like it was a ballad, I left it for a whole year and I didn't finish it. And then when I realized that, this is a good melody, I listened back to it on my voice notes and I was like, that's giving me like a feeling here, like I need to finish this. And then it finished itself very, very quickly when I allowed it to.
You didn't block it with the thoughts of like what that person had said and the doubts and the fears. Yeah.
Holy crap. Yeah.
Yeah, we tend to be our own worst enemies.
That is not an understatement. Yeah.
It's facts, man. It's facts.
Yeah.
It's facts.
Which is good, because that means you can control that, which is, I guess, is something.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh, I like that. You know what? That is a nice nugget. Ooh,
what?
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a nice nugget to take, actually.
Good.
It's good because you can control it.
Mm-hmm. Which means you can change. Yep.
Yeah.
Practice
Real
it, but it's worth it.
Yeah. It's hard work, but yeah.
If it's going to change my life, because I realized, like, I don't know why this is coming through, but in terms of realities, I read something about how everyone's reality is going to be different. Which means if you're living for someone else's reality, one, you're not going to feel good, because you're going to feel that dissonance, and you're going to wonder why, especially like if it's someone that you want to impress, or if it's someone that you want to show up for. If you're not yourself and you're living like just related to their reality, you'll never be happy. You'll never find that like peace that you want, because your reality can literally be unicorns and butterflies. And I love unicorns and butterflies, so that's obviously my reality.
Of course.
Thank you. But it's like, that has not changed. But it's like I can choose to see a situation a certain way. And yes, okay, there are logical standpoints. There's all this shit where you should know you want to be in the fear trap holes. Like you need to be aware of the fears in case it happens. Like, no. I've played both ways, man. For years, and I can tell you now, you have nothing to lose by sticking to the unicorn butterfly scenario. And what I mean by that is like the positive stuff. I'm not saying deny your feelings. Observe your fears, figure out why they're there, like see the sadness, allow yourself to feel all those emotions, because there's no positive negative in that way, but don't be consumed by them, so that you can actually see what you can be grateful for, why you have so much love in your life already that you wouldn't have even remembered, because your mind is solely focused on reality that society has set for you. I don't know why I needed to say that. I just came running through, sorry. But that's just that's helped me a tremendous amount. You have nothing to lose by thinking and seeing good around you.
Yeah. Especially if it works for you, then
yeah, exactly.
No one else can come in and say,
exactly.
yo, you need to see things this way, unless you've asked, yo, I need to
right.
see things. Okay, I'm currently seeing things this way.
Yeah.
How can I gain a different perspective from this? But
you choose how you want to live your life. That's basically
ultimately,
exactly.
yeah. And even in that scenario, you have to accept that. Yeah. I've noticed that from you as well. From even from obviously your energy and your way of being, but even in the stuff that you're putting out, like I can hear it in the lyrics and in just the content that you put out, that's the direction you've taken. So I'm happy to hear that as a friend. One of the things I was going to ask you, actually, because I don't know if it's happened yet. Maybe it has, maybe it hasn't. But do random people hit you up and say, yo, so I want to be a musician, like, what do I do? Has that been something you've had to face? And like, if you have, or instead, like, what's your opinion? What do you think? Or
I've actually never received a DM like that. I've received DMs where have explained how the posts I posted or the music that I've sent out has actually helped them in some way. But I have talked to people who are new musicians before, face to face more than DMs, where it's I just pass on what I knew at the time. And the one thing I think that's always been in that advice is, if you, as cheesy as it could sound, I mean that's what it's about really, if you feel if you feel in your body, in your heart, that this is something you want to do every day, I'm talking about, like, if no one was around and you could choose what you wanted to do every day, and that was to create or write or sing or whatever it is, that's your answer. Because then when it gets hard and you are facing your insecurities and you're facing your journey of whatever comes to you specifically, because every journey is different, you won't give up so easily, because you'll know that actually the impact of what happens when you perform or when you write or when you hear the feedback from people being like, thank you for writing that, thank you for singing that, you'll be like, holy shit, you just changed someone's day. Like that there's nothing, for me personally, there's absolutely nothing better than receiving by one person even that you helped them that day from 3,000 miles away. Like,
that's powerful, man.
That is you won't give up after that, personally.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's powerful to have that kind of impact where you've created something and put it out, and then someone who you don't even know It's just like, yo,
Yeah.
like that thing you did, it 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 did something to me. It did something to the chemicals in my body and made them move a different way.
That's a great line, by the way.
Yeah, yeah.
Keep that.
Marketing, innit? The chemicals got jigged up and suddenly the composition was different. Oh, that's powerful.
You did chemistry, didn't you?
Only till like GCSEs, but I remember, to be fair.
That was my favorite science, actually. I sucked, but it was so good to I actually enjoyed it.
I thought you were gonna be like, yeah, it was really good, but I wasn't interested.
No. No, you know what? Sometimes you just are so bad at something, but you love it anyway. Yeah, that was chemistry.
Oh yeah, I can think of
and sports. Oh my God, Jesus Christ.
But you don't love sports, do you?
I did love it, and then I think the number of times you're told you're just not good, I think it gets to you. Like, I swear, Dami running the cross country. Although me and my best friend at the time, so off topic, but me and my best friend at the time, I'll never forget, because we had woods, we found a shortcut. And we would then meet people like out of breath. We would literally just stay there for 20 minutes, and then we'd meet them, we'd see them like running, and then we'd run to them like out of breath, like I was like, acting I should have done, Dami, because I swear to God, that would have been an Oscar. Yeah. Yeah. But I love netball. I was pretty good at the hoops.
What position did you play when you played netball?
In my younger school, before like 11 years old, I played goal attack. And then I went to high school. God, I've been in America too long. I went to senior school, and I say this so badly because there's nothing wrong with the wings, I promise. But let's be real, okay? The wing attack and wing defense are fucking stupid.
You ain't in the game, man. You're not in the game. You're not in the game.
You're not in the game. And actually, to be honest, they're not stupid. That's just me. Because at the time, I was like, when I got wing attack, I was like, it's like when you're going from goal attack to wing attack. There's a wound right there still, Dami.
It's not fun. It's not fun.
No, I actually don't know how people did goalkeeper.
I mean, there's excitement. So obviously, the reason I know about netball a bit is because I did PE GCSE at school, and our teacher, Mr. Elia, he made us all do netball as one of like the sports that we had to learn, because you have to do like a range of sports, and then like you get marks for each sport, and then they put that towards like your final grade. Netball was one of my top ones, you know. Netball was one of my top ones. That was actually good.
I am not surprised. You're very good, yeah.
But I was playing like goal shooter.
Okay. That's good.
I had a pretty
you get the action there.
I get the action. But yeah, I always used to look at some positions and be like, oh my God, you're not even getting in the game.
Actually, I was in like group C, but because
is that the bottom group? Oh, listen.
We actually used to not even play netball. It's all the memories. We used to go to do badminton. You just like fucking whack the bud across the.
Oh
but
my God.
There was one day though, if I'm actually gonna be honest, there was one day where they needed to fill in, and I was refereeing for the group A netball, and they needed someone, and I was like, and they were desperate, so they were like looking at me, and they were like, okay, great. So I went in it, and this is a testament to being around people who are better than you. Yeah, I fucking rocked it.
You stepped up.
I stepped up because everyone else around me was like, as a team, you believe in your people, and then I'd never played like that in my life. It was phenomenal. It was like the best game ever. That's why I love netball, because I was like, oh my God, I don't have to suck. It's just simply because I just gave up on it because everyone said you were shit. That's all. That's why we talked about this, because of that lesson.
Step up. Whenever you're around like the people that are really doing their job, it puts you up.
You help,
You're just like, I can't be the one who's fucking the ship up. I need to be holding my own.
And you do, because you actually start to believe in yourself because the people around you do. It's amazing. The whole like me working with different people now, like the team I have accomplished way more with them than ever before. And I always just think, well, I have to do it on my own because that's the grind. That's the, you know, you have to, no, no. If you find people that you trust, that's more important than anything else. If you find people who trust, who believe in you, and you surround yourself with that, everything you do, just exactly.
Yeah. I've like, just to touch on that point as well.
Yes.
Recently, me and a few of my home friends, we've all got a few projects that we're working on. So, you know, my friend Darius, who's a rapper, he's part of this group, and then there's a few other characters in there too. And recently we've created this forum. So we created this forum where we talk about our goals, what we're trying to achieve, and we hold each other accountable to each other. And within, it's because it's not been, we haven't been doing it long, like only since this lockdowns occurred really. But in doing that, the energy's just shifted and everyone's kind of lifting each other up, and we're all, I've already seen the change. So you're definitely right. Like, being around people is like a massive like benefit. And I'm sure with yourself, because you're around people who are in your industry, the learnings that you're getting are like so they're gold dust.
Yeah.
Almost.
It's as long as you surround yourself with people that you trust, that believe in you, you will not forget who you are. It's when you're surrounded by people that don't see you. Because you could have childhood friends who saw you a certain way and who have grown up with you, but you've changed. You're not probably the same person you were last week. So if they're willing to evolve with you, then that's a gift to have. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's powerful. It's very powerful. On that point, actually, because we're probably coming close to the end.
Oh my god,
it's flying by. It's flying by. It's how it goes, man. The conversation.
I love that.
It's just lit. From both of us, of course. Yeah. So now that you've got those people around you, obviously I know we talked about staying in the present and being there, and I fully agree. Although there's probably some things that you're looking to do and consolidate in the world. With the people that you're working with now, what are the things that you're planning to achieve? Like what do you want to create in your head right now?
Right now, I have four songs that I want to release over the next 4 months. I've had them. There's one that I've had for 3 years that I haven't released, and usually I would work with my manager, who also is a photographer, and like create visuals and be creative about it, which I love. I love doing. But due to the quarantine, I am changing things up, and I think it's a good thing for me as a lesson, because as much as I love creating visuals, I love being simple and just dropping things, just releasing songs, not overthinking it, not trying to create a different world. I think it can create its own world the moment it's out. So I think I'm now going to work on simple visuals, which I love drawing. So I think that's going to be part of it, to create for the next 4 singles. Yeah, because I love animation and my fucking jam. So I want to incorporate that.
On the animation thing, I your newsletter, because I'm in your newsletter list.
Well, I haven't done one of those in a while.
You no, fucking hell, Lizzie, man, you're listen, this girl puts in work. Let me tell you lot now. Let me fucking tell you. This girl puts in the work. Because you used to do those newsletters where you'd like draw and like write them out by hand, like a handwritten, drawn newsletter. And I was just like, wow, this is incredible. I love that. I love that. Like, I always read them because
I actually didn't think at the time anyone read it, like genuinely. I didn't think of like, no, this is amazing how distorted it can be. Because at the time I was like, oh, I'm doing this for myself right now because no one else. Because they were like, if it's handwritten, the only thing I was told was it might be difficult for people to read, in which case they won't read it. Instead of seeing like, oh well, I feel like creative. I feel creative right now. I'm gonna do. You know what I mean? Like it's fascinating. So I'm glad that you enjoyed them. That makes me happy.
No, if you ever do like start putting the newsletters out again, I liked it, and I'm
Yeah.
sure there's probably quite a few other people that liked it. But obviously, I know that doing that, like you just said, you love animation, very clear from that, and yeah, it
Yeah.
resonates. It
Yeah.
resonates. So
Can't wait to explore that again. Yeah. Oh, that's so
yeah,
good.
I love
Yeah,
that.
I'm excited for that because I think that will. Yeah, I could think ahead, but to be honest with you, I've done that before, and the universe was like, no. So
Mm.
I'm gonna wait. But
Yeah,
at the moment, those 4 songs are coming out, and I'm excited about that. So I'm
yeah.
see how it goes and where the other project goes. Hopefully, be able to
Mm.
explain that soon.
Yeah, I'm all ears for that.
Mm.
And I'm sure that there's probably some people listening who are all ears too. So where can they find you, Lizzie slash
Well,
Elizabeth, when your songs are ready, and just to see what you're doing and
yeah.
how your journey's progressing? Where can they find you?
Well, if you want some empowering old pop music, which I think is the genre that I've decided it is, I still don't even know what it is, or like self-love socials, you can find me at elizsabeth.com. It's spelled weirdly, so I'm just going to spell it. ELIZSABETH.com, or every socials, including YouTube, is Elizabeth Music, same spelling. And yeah, you can DM me
Nice.
in the chat. Fun.
Cool.
Thanks
Lizzie,
for having me.
it's been real, man. I told you before that this was gonna be sick.
It was. It's been an hour and a half.
I told you
It
before
does not feel right. It was such
it
a
was
good time.
gonna be sick, and
Thanks for having me.
yeah, like it's so good to see like things really progressing for you now, because like I've said quite a few times today, I've seen how much you put in, and you're so talented. Like I told you before, at that performance you did in New Cross, Wembley. Wembley Stadium is going to be packed for you one day. Maybe,
Oh,
let's
one
not
day,
get
and you'll be there. It'll be
like,
great. Oh,
let me not
I'm
put
there.
like stuff
I'm
in
with
your
you.
head and like put pressure on you. But I just
It's
was like,
already there, Dami.
I was just like, yo,
Yeah.
that's what I see.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm glad that things are going well, and I wish you all the best.
Back at you.
Thanks. Yeah. For everyone else who's listening, thanks again for listening to this one, episode 4, or probably will be episode 4. We'll see. And yeah, just trying to put out more stuff to learn from people who have invested a lot of time and effort into their craft, like Lizzie. And thank you for listening. You can find our socials, so Instagram at Garden of Edun, so that's Garden of EDUN _ on Instagram, or my Instagram at Dami Edun, DAMIEDUN. Thanks for listening, Lizzie. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you.
I will see everyone soon. Bye bye. Hey, so thanks for watching this episode on the Garden of Eden. If you haven't already, please like, share, and subscribe. If you have, of course, got some value from this. Also, if you want to see more content from me and little bits of the show before they go live, please follow either my Instagram channel at Dami Edun or the podcast's Instagram channel at Garden of Eden _. And yeah, I'll be looking to give you some more content on those platforms. Yeah, thanks for listening. Safe.